Hour. Yeah.
So, there's been a change in the workshop schedule. Willis cannot come next week, so. He's asking to, because his wife's got something going on that he has to be prepared for. He wants to be the 23rd at 3:30 instead of the 17th.
So it's like the 11th hour then.
I told him, I said, if there's any way you can make it on the 17th, be better, and he called me back just like a half hour ago, said that. he
Well,
cannot
listen, we got,
reschedule.
He's
Man-
playing games
yeah,
now.
we got many fronts
This
there.
is Willis, not Matt, just,
Yeah, but that's the
because
point.
I don't know who's on second anymore.
I don't know which freaking stadium we're playing.
No.
And also, while
Yeah, my
we're
kids
on
saw
the
it
topic
yesterday
of
and they went
Willis,
over there watching the game.
I did touch base.
That's Jared's
regarding
standing right
the
there.
trade-in,
That's my beer.
The three.
Oh,
That's where we sat right
old
there.
and the new ones. He reached out to the guy who did the quote, he said, the trade-in values, if we waited until next year's budget, the trade-in values for those three old pieces will remain at the 10,000. But the price for the new might go up a little bit just because of, you
Yeah.
know. It's
A little bit,
Yeah.
10%.
Well, you know, he wouldn't say, he
I
wouldn't
I
say.
don't wanna play politics, but I'm gonna use a little bit of leverage here. And hold off any decisions. So he understands like who's running the show.
Yep.
That's a pretty blunt way of saying it, but we got a little different reaction today to it. Yeah,
Well, you did.
Oh, I didn't keep you waiting, did I?
Good, Dean.
don't worry, we got so much gossip going on.
Gossip.
We could fill in the clock till you get here.
Yeah.
All right, I made my Yule beer. I found out that there was a Viking king in the 10th century that decreed that everybody must brew beer. And if you were a noble and you did not brew beer for Christmas, yes, you were fined 2 marks of silver.
Okay.
And I thought, well,
So
I'm gonna brew a beer
you
in
don't wanna
honor
be
of
fined.
good King Haakon.
Yeah, you don't wanna be fined.
I thought you were gonna say beheaded.
Are you of Viking descent?
Not German.
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
guess
that's
they were
pretty
Teutonic,
close.
yeah, it's Teutonic
Yeah.
language, but I tried to figure out, I used mostly barley base.
Yep.
Which way they would probably use, I tried Golding hops, cause I think that would be similar, you know, they come from the Willamette Valley, so I think that is
That's what I
similar.
want.
What else did I put? The yeast, I just had a pack of Safe Ale 67, that was a German Pilsner, I threw that in there. But it could be similar to what they had, probably not.
Have you ever had Gritty McDuck's Christmas Ale?
No.
That's Christmas.
We will be on for the expenditures, page 3.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I ever had. It's the best.
Hey,
Best beer.
It's on page 3. I mean, the revenue is what it is. We
It is
either
what
get
it
or
is.
We either get it or we don't.
And
I'm not,
officially, we do not worry about revenue whenever we do.
that would be a bad thing for you.
We should, Jen did pretty well catching up to Scots,
Did you get your?
Yeah.
which is the good news. The bad news is it's much harder to catch up to Scots because now Scots,
Yeah.
there's a new law which takes our hooks out of the Scot, basically. But we've just been sending them letters and we had a very good response, so our revenue should be okay. I don't know.
I mean, right now, there are 27,65. So that will be through the month of September. No, August, because we have not been billed yet for September by the state comptrollers.
Okay,
So it'll probably be like around 32
which
for
is,
September. And we budgeted 40 for the year.
so we're okay.
I mean. Ideally, you
probably-
break even, but the board doesn't appear to be worried about that.
I'm not gonna raise the fines. Sorry. It's a service you're providing for the community.
Dick, I do have the labels for those tabs if you want them. I offered them yesterday, nobody cared.
Yeah, I'm good.
Next year.
So,
Yeah.
do you want to make a copy of what I have for the budget for you? What they're looking at, cause I did not give them any supporting documentation.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
I thought I had given you one, I apologize.
No, that's cool. You probably sent it in an email and I didn't print it. I look at them and then I look at the percentage And I figured out we're 3/4 of the way through a year, we should be 3/4, and then that's about all I do.
Yeah.
It seemed to me it was working out.
Court has never been out of whack.
It's pretty steady,
Yeah,
you know, COVID went down quite a bit,
The-
but it's
the
pretty
main-
steady.
my main thing for court this year, and before Kathy gets back, is bringing justice compensation to a level that is kind of consistent across the county.
I have some information for you
Good.
there.
All right,
We'll talk about that.
Good,
I'm prepared to deal with that question.
perfect.
I'm not saying the words, then show.
Well, you wanna,
You're all talked out from yesterday.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
so the budget hasn't changed that much in the 20 years. I mean, it's changed, but it's changed percentage wise.
Right.
The balance hasn't changed that much. There are some things that most of the things that are on there, there's not a lot we can do about it. The equipment rental and leases, you know, the court dues and fee, I mean, everything is pretty much there. I mean, one of the things that's happened, I guess, is that postage went up dramatically. So that's huge, and there's not a lot we can do about it, but that happened. And it is what it is, as I say, I do not. Worry about the revenue side at all, that's not my job, so.
And even though we lost the justice, that was this year, right? I can't even keep track. Or
Yeah,
was that last
yeah.
year? Because we'd agreed to pay Dean pay, there's no major change in
Right,
personal
yeah.
services.
So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
It's.
Listen,
It just means that you don't have any time off is what, it was gonna happen with the hip, it was a good year, I couldn't do anything anyway.
I happen to know that vacations are done one at a time now because of what you do for us, so
Yeah,
listen, better days are coming.
well, yeah, I know that.
We need to tell you, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you, it's good, and it was good, you can, if you wanna talk about judges, judges' salary is not the big thing, but, you can do that, you can't change it, you need to talk to your attorney. A judge's salary change has, because as an elected official, is kind of like you, there are certain requirements. My understanding is you pass a resolution permissive, which is subject to a permissive referendum. And so you can do it, you gotta talk to your attorney about how to do it. That's not my main concern now.
Is that for,
I don't,
for a judge, but not for.
I'm like, judge isn't on this little sheet.
But it's not required by law to be on that sheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I don't think we have to do.
I was gonna say.
I think we've got carte blanche with,
I don't, better you wanna talk to your attorney, you cannot be mad at my revenues and cut my salary today.
No.
Yeah,
Right,
Right,
so
right.
that's why there are certain rules and regulations, nor can you say like, oh, by the way, you have, you know, I had recused myself, but I had the eviction case done.
yeah,
And you can't say, well, you know, you could take that and we could boost your salary, you know, so there are some regulations, you need to talk to your attorney about them.
okay.
I'm happy finishing my term at what I did, I mean, that was my deal, I got elected at that, so it has nothing. to
What's
do-
great that one of our attorneys is a justice.
Yeah, you will know.
No, she will.
She will, okay, alright. There are some things, however, I do want to talk about, and I did put it in there.
You have one?
I think I made enough. And one for,
You got enough?
I think I did, I made 6. So the first thing is, as I mentioned, when we went in, usually we try to pay everything out of the grant, but this year the grant is going to the digitization, and I met with you gentlemen and ladies before about that. So we don't have any grant money. This is some furniture changes that we would have probably tried to put through an OCA grant, but not. I finally talked Jen into doing an ergonomic desk. She's been looking at them for the last 3 years. I think there's a cost benefit analysis somewhere. If you go ergonomic, you save things in the long run. But that total, the desk with all the tables and stuff, and she finally found one she likes. And I think it's similar to one that somebody's using upstairs that goes up and down and still has a work section, $2,094.
That's what was this desk.
Is that it? That's what she said, that's the one I want, because apparently you can work on it. The other, oh, I'm sorry.
No. We're good.
And then, we now are, the 2 file cabinets we use to keep, are the same file cabinets that were there when I came in. And they are basically cardboard and they're falling apart and they were probably there, I don't know, 20 years before I came in, and they are things the good news is you can carry them. So you get all the bad news is I dropped it once, but the good news is you can carry like, you know, all the old tickets at once and they're folded up. And Jen, she's still looking at, these are good placeholders. I don't think she's decided exactly the model, but you know, what it is a budget hearing, so these are good placeholders. It's about that amount of money.
So this is not in the budget,
This is not in the budget.
because we were under the impression at first that it was gonna be covered by
That's
the
right.
grant, but now you're saying it's not.
It's not,
Okay,
all right,
so you're asking for this to be added to it.
exactly, and that's it. The big thing, and this is the most important thing, is that I talk, every year I think I've been here, we've talked about making the two court clerks equal in salary.
Oh, I know it's not.
Yeah, and it has not. Victoria's making $27 an hour, Jen's getting $3.5.
And it's not my fault because the village didn't ask the right questions.
No.
They gave Victoria that raise.
That's
I
right.
asked the village about that raise and they said that the village employees make more money. They said there was no mistake made, anyways.
I don't think.
And
So-
the workload was up.
It's,
different.
it is not. I mean, the hours are the same and I just want to say the workload may be the same, but there are other, everybody brings skills. Both of them are very competent. Both of them do their job very, very well. So, you know, there's no, the job's getting done done well, no matter who you're talking about. This is a list of things that Jen has done, and I have to say that I'm one of the worst bosses in the world. I will say, boy, that $300, that interpreter here was pretty expensive. And then Jen spends a week and she looks up the language line program, talks to OCA, and she's got a program that doesn't cost us 300 times, but costs us $10 every time you use it. And we use it now probably every other week. So she put that 8 times. I used it last week again. You know, a guy comes in and he just speaks Spanish. I need a certified reporter. And so the OCA gave us a thing. It was $300 every time I call. And on her own initiative, she saved you $2-3 grand there.
Is it, like, do you have to have someone like, you can't, because there's just like AI sort of in.
Oh, no, it's gotta be certified. They
Okay.
give their number because there's, maybe they'll get there.
Okay.
The courts were,
It's
You wanna
actually
make
like
sure
a
that
live
it's
person,
it's
right?
it's a live person on phone. And I have to write down, this is certificate, she's gotta be certified because there's certain court terms and situations that she's gotta use correctly.
Okay.
So I always have the certification number written down and then it's on the record and we move forward.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the kind of thing she does. She did the same thing with a parking program with the Saranac Lake Police Department. You probably don't care about that, but it saved the Saranac Lake Police Department a whole bunch of money. Still working on DEC tickets.
I always give someone a quick, that's money.
Yeah, but some other things, you know, just the record retention, the last 3 things at the bottom, the record retention and the grant. That's what she did, you know, you have your room upstairs is filled and she just sees, I didn't say anything, she just sees the problem and fixes it. So,
She's a self-driver.
absolutely, that's
I
my
get it
point.
because I get to see her a few times a day.
Well, I don't, yeah, I don't,
So, listen, this is all basis, and thank you for doing that,
well,
toward a raise. That doesn't bother me as much as what I think is ahead of us between some apparent little friction that's brewing down there. So in this equipment thing, should I be buying a frickin' divider?
well, Well,
Like, I've heard about a potential meeting coming.
Yeah.
Where May wants to get involved. I'm gonna really strongly take an opinion on this. A meeting like that will go nowhere.
Mhm.
And that's. my
well, let me
personal-
give you a little background. So we moved the 2 courts together and moved the 2 things together. Probably after, Bill was still here, Bill Ossoff
Right.
was still here, he was at the end of
Yeah.
it. And he didn't like the idea that the courts were consolidated, but he did like the idea that they help each other. Things have been going along wonderfully for 5 years. And you know, you appoint each other, the deputy, whatever.
Sure,
The appointment, for all honesty, isn't worth anything. Unless the person is paid and bonded, they can't get into the court computer. So Jen can never get into the village court computer and Victoria can't get into their computer.
that part's good.
Yeah, well, that's the way it is. I
Right.
mean, it's just the way it is. You can't do that. So, like I say, things have been going along pretty well, and I'm trying to figure out what was the change. Well, the personalities of people don't change after 5 years, and they're still the same nice people that they were. What happened was a job change, and I'm putting it to the park. Because of the parking and the number of parking tickets that have been down, all of a sudden Victoria is busier. She gets a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah,
People don't come in to pay their speeding tickets, they do come in to pay their parking tickets. And so what happens is all of a sudden that sharing duties becomes very one-sided. And a couple of times Jen has been so busy with foot traffic, she hasn't been able to get stuff ready. And indeed, if I'm coming in at 9 o'clock in the morning, this has got to be ready because it's got to be ready then.
Yeah.
And so there's once or twice, I think she may
where
have
she can't go
stayed
out,
over.
yeah,
The other issue there was because you couldn't give receipts, the way we handled it was Jen would hand them an envelope. They would write down their name and address and how much they put in the envelope and give it. And Jen would, and it would be sealed. And that's how we kind of protected ourselves. The problem with not being bonded is he was liable, personally liable. with the
for what's in
problem.
the end.
Yeah, and plus whatever else the crazy person says. And there were one or two instances where there was either a delay and the person was, the person gave their money, but Victoria didn't get to it and the computer sent a delinquency notice, so all of a sudden the person comes in really mad. Or there was one where the person wrote down a certain amount and got the receipt and said, that's not the amount I wrote down, there were a few issues and Jen just said, I can't do it. And so that help each other process is kind of broken down. I am going to go to the village board and I agree with you. I think there's two ways to do that. This process of, we'll help each other out of the goodness of our hearts a little bit is wonderful. It breaks down if it becomes very one-sided, or it breaks down if it interferes with the smooth operation of one office.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna vote again. I still think the answer is consolidation. My efforts at consolidation might have sparked a little bit of feelings there, but I still think that's the way to go. The other way is to separate the offices, so we might go one way or the other. But that's where we are, and I talked to Art about it, I talked to you about it,
Yeah.
and that's my take on it. And it's not the people that are mad, or it's just the situation changed and it put a stress on the system. The system wasn't designed for that new stress. And that's my analysis, take it or leave it.
It's dead on, I mean, yes,
So I was on the village board when Mayor Randall was making the push to consolidate the courts, and it just didn't seem to be the ideal time, and it failed when it went to a referendum. Has there been discussion in the village board to attempt it again?
Yes, I went to him last year, and again, and it was a little contentious, the village board does not agree with me. And it was contentious, and they said no, and the reason basically was not so much it was a good time, I think you get better service, because if Jen's not here now,
Yeah.
and I just got off track, I'm weaving. It's all gonna come together.
Oh, I'm along for the ride.
But to get back to your question, we did, and we were pretty darn close. We had a working committee. I did the study. It would save the village about $40,000 a year in taxes. That some of that would transfer to you, but it would actually save the village about $70,000. The taxpayers would save about $40,000. So it switches the tax base.
and they would retain their parking revenue.
Yes, yeah.
And the village was retained,
Yeah.
because I felt like that was probably a bone
To
of
me-
contention.
Yeah, the main issue was they were concerned that the village police department would be put out. Right now, when you have a full loaded, when you have 2 town justices and 2 village judges, that means the village had 4 police officers 4 different judges to call. So there was going to be somebody there for an arraignment.
Sure.
Sometimes in the even Friedman and I and Rogers, and we always worked out our vacations. You take the first half, I take the second half. So we always made sure, but sometimes I'm in Plattsburgh because my wife's got an appointment. And so I would be on duty for those 2 weeks, but I'm unavailable. So then they have to go to a contiguous town. So if if you had 4 judges, the village police said, we'll never have to leave that courtroom. With 2 judges, it might happen that we'd have
Cause
to
if you
take.
consolidated, you went to 2.
We would have to take them to a contiguous town. So I think this has been a great experiment. We have had 2 judges since January. It's happened once. So now I'm going to go to the village board and say, look, you were concerned about that. You're paying $50,000-$60,000 extra a year to prevent the village from driving to Wilmington one time. Does it make sense? The other part of that is, and it's a part I can't address, there's an emotional component to it. And I think that the component, you can't address that. It's part of it. I think it would be better customer service. I don't think client service.
Customer service.
Yeah, defendant service.
Put it all in. It's customer
Well,
service.
some of you don't worry about service too. I didn't say it. Did I say that on record?
I always find it I find it, I won't say amusing, but interesting how things develop. Once, when I was on the village board, we didn't miss an opportunity to always ask Roby if he wanted a police department. And
Oh, no.
he always said no, but now that maybe the town board at some point would have been open to that dialogue, they don't wanna let it go. And now it's like, you wanna, they wanted to merge, but now they don't wanna.
Well, yeah.
Consolidate, so I
Yes.
find out how things change.
That's a whole different ballgame, but
Yeah.
there was way back when with Michael, and that's way off, but way back when Michael was chair of
Yeah.
the planning, we did a big study on that, and what would be the response time from here to that's well, right, Stevens Cottages, I mean, it goes a long way, it's like 6-8 minutes. And what would the cost be and how much it would cost, and we even worked out a spreadsheet depending on how many officers you had, what the cost was, this is how the tax rate is affected. We can go over the town was not interested in taking on the burdens of a police, and I can understand that, they rely, you get pretty good coverage out of the state police.
Yes,
And then the town police department would basically be going to the village, I think, most of the time. Not that the interests of the town people are taking it. I think peace in the village center is in the interest of me and Beverly Hill too.
Well, yeah, I think in the era of short-term rentals and noise and like.
Yeah.
The state police to show.
Yeah, and we're not interested, and that was part of the total dissolution of the village.
Hmm.
Police is an issue, fire is an issue, are the 2 issues. So my first request is, even if you don't do it in, maybe a 2-year program, a 3-year program, a 4-year program, you equate that. I mean, I can understand some troubles, but it is also it's just, I think they are the maturity hand. It's not good. It's just bad management. To have 2 people doing the same thing in the same office, not paying the same. I mean, there's not a seniority system. You don't have tenure. You can have step system if you have protection for tenure, but it's not it. It's the job. It's the job.
And what did you say you think Victoria's making?
27. I looked at lately.
What are these numbers, Dean, Pike County Road is?
Oh, you're looking at Judge Shop. So
All those are judge.
I did those. Yeah, I did
I
those.
thought those were the. clerk.
No, those are close, and I did that because I know Derek's talking about it, and the things are wrapped up, if they consolidate. Then I think you need 2 judges, and I think you have to address judges' salary at that point.
Sorry for jumping ahead. I
Yeah,
thought
so I think that's the time to do it, I'm not asking you to do it now. I'm just giving you that because I think this could be my last budget meeting, and so it's a good time for you to consider what to do as you go forward. If you want to go over those, I can. Are you clear? I can't make the case for getting anymore.
Right.
I certainly want that to happen. And she's a valuable resource. Not that she leaves, but she's. And it doesn't have to be a year. You can to tell someone you're gonna make you leave one that's gonna take 3 years, she would understand. Certainly. And I understand the politics, but
I was gonna say,
the job is, it's a unique position
Justice, right?
in that
Yeah.
she's a town. Jen is a town employee and Victoria is a village employee. So you can set the salary, you can set the job description. The only thing you can't do is hire or fire without the judge's permission. That's the way that position works, so she is your employee. So the judge's salaries, if you look at that, the odd thing is North Elba is not available, I think it's
Where'd you get this from?
I went on a website, so,
On the town website?
and,
Well,
no,
I'll tell you,
Town.
our websites,
What's that?
our website is in here.
well, no, I didn't use our website, I went to Ticonderoga, I went to Newfoundland, I went to Crown Point, because, and some of them are not available for 3 different reasons. So I looked at their 22 or 23 budgets, some it's still not posted their 23 budgets. So there are all kinds of fudge
Not
factors.
surprised.
The other thing I did, the other thing is sometimes, like North Elba, you just have one number. And that number includes 2 judge salaries and the clerk, so
Right.
I have no way of figuring that out, who gets what.
You don't know what you get paid?
I don't really, I think it's, Mary knows, I think it's 13,
It's,
15.
no.
She told you 13? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know where 2,000
Yeah,
dollars.
she has control, she
I-
has control over the account.
I only got
Is that what
that
it is?
conversation.
Oh, no, you're not, that's, don't look at that.
I know,
That's not
I know.
right. You gotta look at the one
I think
that's
my
wages.
take home's like 13.
There. Justice elected. Retort- So for next year.
15,301.
15,
That would be what it
That's
would
pretty-
be for
Each one
next year.
15.
That's what it means
Next
next year, alright, we're not that far off,
Okay, that's good.
you know, and that's what I wanted you to see, that's not something, I think, you know, if you look, Ticonderoga is an outlier. Lake Placid's an outlier, I don't know about the others, we are the, other than Ticonderoga, the second busiest court in that.
Yeah,
However, you know, that's what it's, so the judge's salary is not that far out of line.
but I think Ty only has one judge.
You only have 2.
Oh, they do, so they're only getting 12 grand apiece.
No, that's per judge.
Oh, that's per, okay.
That's a good gig.
Seems like the era of
On move.
the era of volunteerism in Lake Placid is winding down where
Well,
we have a lot of.
Here's,
Services that we
Consolidate.
yeah, well, I think you gotta, I don't think it's a question. And you are right, based on what you pay is what you get, I mean, that's it. And right now, I think the position is such that it's gotta be someone who is kind of retired, you've gotta be self-employed, and you gotta have, like, when I was at the school, they were so good, you have to work for an employer who says, okay, you can leave now for 20 minutes or half an hour. You know, and that's the kicker more than anything else. And so when you get retirees, if you got a pension, why do it? And so you had trouble finding people to do it. It's just like anything else, economics, it's supply and
That's
demand.
probably why some of these courts pay a salary for the justice and they act as their own clerk.
Yeah,
Cause it's like a full-time
and
job.
it's a full-time job for them. And that's St. Armand, who makes, it's about 20.
It's still not a lot,
No,
but.
no,
yeah.
but it, you know, you are going to get, you're not gonna get somebody who does it full-time, you're gonna get somebody who does it. And it's gotta be somebody that has a job that he can get away from, or she can get away from. So you probably are gonna get a pensioner.
Sure.
That's the way it is. And it doesn't mean, they still, I think to do it, still have to have some, I think, a spirit of community.
Yeah.
Nobody does it.
That's
Oh,
what-
yeah, do
no.
it without, no, I hope, otherwise you don't want them. So that's where they are, so you were asking, I hope that helps.
Yeah.
I don't think the judge's salaries are that far out of line. Court, yes. So if you're thinking of raising one, raise the other,
Yeah.
be my request. You look deep in thought, Emily.
No, I was thinking about other things.
Okay.
So yes, she was deep in thought,
Yeah,
but not
Just
necessarily
didn't care about me.
finding ways to pay their.
I'm surprised I heard what you said. Well, I know, she used to date you in class.
No, I don't doubt
I
that.
saw the same look many years ago.
Was she nicer then?
She was thinking about the soccer game. We get out at 1 o'clock. Is there anything else I can do for you?
I don't think so. You've been doing a lot for us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been an honor.
Unless it's
Appreciate your
been-
efforts.
Been a long haul though. John is still excited, I hope.
Yes, you know, I haven't had a lot of contact with him, but I will, as soon as he's elected, then he's gonna sit in on a couple.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I'm guessing he probably can't register for training in December until he's elected. Okay,
But I gave him all that information, I think he's got all that information,
Okay.
if you not. I must have his number, maybe, if I don't have his number, I'll call, I've spoken to him a couple times, but
Yeah.
if I don't have his number, I'll ask you for it.
that's
The
good.
pub, look up the pub and just
You might have a line of
I'm a, it is a concern, isn't it? Yeah,
Dean, as always, thank you very much.
all right.
Thank you very much.
And I am, this is, this is, that's why January, December 31st, 2025, so it's not too, when you talk about it, it's not too early to start recruiting.
Or consolidating.
Or this, I'm gonna go to them and see, the time frame from that is, if they wanna pass a permissive resolution, they have to pass a resolution between January 1st and April 1st. Okay,
Yes,
that would put it on the ballot.
right. That's somebody.
In November of 25.
They would have, no, it would be on the ballot for this April.
For the village elections.
Which are in March.
March, to be end of March, I said April, they have to do between then and April 1st. And then it would be printed on the ballot for March. I'm gonna ask them to do it on January. When we did Saranac Lake, it was about 6 months, but we had to transfer files. We don't have to do that, and everyone computerized now, they basically have to, it won't take 6 months. To do, so if they resolve, we could start working with OCA and get everything ready to throw a switch. And the other beauty of this is that the village is in the town, so. If the village dissolves, all the quick cases are automatically subsumed into the town. So it happens automatically jurisdictionally. So it's not like when Saranac Clay went, someone at the Franklin, someone here, they go to where you're going, so.
You saw the election law repealed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect courts because you guys stayed the same.
yeah, it was constitutional for us and for the district attorney too, wasn't it constitutional? Yeah.
The election law
The idea
to go to even years only.
Oh, the
Well,
one
was
that
it-
implemented?
Was it repealed or did some judge?
No.
Judge, no, it wasn't,
Judge,
judge bought that.
Yeah.
And
Those judges.
Stephanic's quote was just wonderful. Did you read
I
Stephanic's?
didn't read it, well,
Which,
Oh, I mean, it was just like those liberal lefts trying to,
yeah.
Okay,
it's all about getting Democrats to vote and.
yeah, that's right, I did, because I didn't realize that was.
I was like, geez, I didn't know that she felt so strongly about it.
Oh, really? It was like, we need to win elections.
Well-
Well, don't.
I'm a little worried because you said you were Johnson, and I'm gonna be Johnson about me.
I was alone yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
If we don't win, we're just gonna change the weather.
I'm sorry, Rick, I do it again, I'm sorry. No, that's.
Blame us for the hurricane.
He was showing us the election maps, and like, if Democrats are in power, changing weather,
yeah, yeah.
North Elba would be a better place to live.
You know, it's the first time in my history, you two guys are outnumbered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's never happened.
No,
Actually,
I'm
Dean is a
not holding my
Democrat.
breath that it's gonna stay that way.
And Sean is running as a Democrat.
Yeah, he is, yeah. So when I
Not
first, I think there were
expecting
700 or 800.
Yeah.
I think there's 700 or 800 Democrats when I.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so you can gossip about me.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
If your ears are ringing.
Give us a call when you get in your vehicle.
Yeah. Just text us so we can start talking.
I know you won't, but do you all remember yesterday when I said
No.
the $17,000 line item for the audit? It
Yeah,
has to be bumped up.
Uh-huh.
you said, yeah, you said.
We're gonna say, I'm gonna take it out completely because I am 99% sure we're not gonna need audit next year for this year. Unless
Even
you
with the
want-
airport stuff?
Because this year, so generally, in the past, when we have had an audit, it is because we've spent enough of the federal
Federal,
awards.
right.
That requires us to have it. And the limit is 750,000. So if we spend 750,000 in the fiscal year,
Yeah,
we need to be audited.
yeah, we won't,
We haven't done that this year yet, and I don't see between now and the end of the year at this point.
and you don't
doing
see a
that.
need for a single audit either.
That would be the only reason to get an audit, unless you all want the books audited, just to have them audited.
No,
You're too honest. You're supposed to wait until the 11th hour to throw that in. You look like a bigger hero.
So I'm taking 17 out, and
good,
I took out the 3,300 for Mahoney that we talked about.
yeah,
So there's 20,000
There we go.
savings.
And what
A
was,
little bit of
what was
touch.
the other one in beautification?
we're talking
Yeah.
about setting that 30,000 aside
Oh, I
for
already wrote
the,
that was crossed out.
I didn't take that, I did not
Until
take
the
that out
floorboards
yet.
fall out.
I didn't take that out yet, because that's
Flintstone
not
truck.
my discussion, that's up to you guys to
Well,
decide.
but listen to this about the truck, and I know you guys are getting so sick of, you're getting mixed up between ARPA and LEAF. But a new truck for beautification would qualify under occupancy tax.
How do we have any occupancy tax money left?
I think we.
I'll tell you.
I'm gonna go to my meeting, I go, 25,000, that's what we got.
Dorgan's gonna pull his pockets right out of his last day and just a couple pennies and.
So-
You
lights
know
gonna
what
fall
they'll
out.
say, it doesn't happen between the ears.
Well, so.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm waiting for the day you show up with a bottle of whiskey for these meetings.
Not too far off, I can go into my truck right now.
The Christmas party next year is gonna be a good one.
Just, so I'm throwing that out there for you to consider based on the fact of what Dean just asked.
Yeah.
So.
So even though you came up with that figure. Just go from 23 to 27, that's that's
So you're talking about.
$8,000.
Well, she doesn't work a 40-hour week, but very close.
Yeah,
But my
5% is 24.15.
yeah, so what I was looking at when I was deep in thought was
Okay.
it was actually about looking at other clerks' salary.
I was
because
just gonna
that's
say,
the
if
bigger
you-
issue.
Right,
Because everyone's gonna say, what the heck,
I-
rightfully so,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's a bigger question, I'm not saying she
Yes.
doesn't deserve.
but we
but
can't
there's a
be
bigger
chasing
It's-
what the.
Yeah,
Village.
if the village made,
Yeah.
they were doing something inappropriate.
It was my understanding that the reason they came up with that rate is because they looked at that line item in our
on our
budget
budget,
and assumed that that was
all
Her
personal
salary.
services.
for
Oh,
just Jen, and that's why they gave Victoria. Obviously, nobody asked us.
That's right, no.
Right.
Was that recently? Cause
No, this was like a year and a half or something
Right.
ago.
So like, I wanna say, I don't know if it was 4 or whatever, there was the other judge, the village judge before he left, it was under Mayor Randall. He was advocating for an increase for Victoria well before that, and the board acquiesced, so I'm just like, that was a number of years ago,
Yeah,
so.
so
There's a lot of shit brewing down there right now.
I'm just saying, when and if I ask the ladies in the village, Mindy and Anita, for information on anything related to wages or contracts for unions, they're always willing to give me the information. And I reciprocate, if they ask me,
Of course,
I would give
sure.
them that information.
Yeah, why?
Well, it's all
why-
public too.
Yeah.
Exactly, so I don't know why or how it happened the way it did, but that was what I was.
Are they going to freeze her salary, I wonder, for a while? Otherwise, we're gonna be,
Yeah.
If we're
I
chasing
couldn't foresee
forever.
that. I'm sure they'll.
Yeah.
Well,
probably
Dean
get
just
the
said if it
3%.
took you 4 years, if it takes you 4 years, I'm like, 6 years?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, well then, and we're, like I said, we're still gonna be chasing it, cause she's, if
Yeah, I know.
they're not gonna freeze her, obviously,
and how
well, we gotta keep going.
And we have like 6 under clerk description here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
And everyone's relatively close to each other, I was,
Yeah.
except for Britt, because Britt has that extra title.
Right.
Well,
And she's also been
And
here for
it's-
20 years.
well,
Britt
it's
Britt has
extra
not been here
chores.
as long as Rose
Rose is longer, yeah.
Rose should make more, I'm just saying, she should make more.
Well, that's the whole point, we talked about this in the last year,
Yeah.
we can't keep just handing out,
Right.
we gotta get it under control where
It
it's.
is that every one of our clerks has a very specific duty, they're not interchangeable.
Right,
So you're paying them for what they're doing,
We
not for
know
what they're
that,
called.
but they don't know that.
Right,
This one's a clerk, this one's a clerk, this one's a clerk, this one's a clerk,
Yeah.
quote unquote. So we should all make the same money unless there's something added in, which isn't true. Now, you could be a clerk. and
unless
spin
they
your ass
were,
all
you
day.
know, I mean, if they felt that strongly, I suppose they could always try to unionize
Yeah, I
or
was
join a
thinking that.
union and have them petition for them and.
so how do we move forward? Do we put an asterisk next to Jen's name and do it when we address all personnel? Because right now, everything's proposed at 3%.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't talked about salaries yet, so I think it's just we wait for that.
Yeah, we just
The
keep
other
that in
thing
mind.
that I wrote down when we were talking about that is that I realized when Darcy and David were here, we didn't talk about the compensation for Britt if she carries the phone. Right? That never came up.
$25.
Well, you
I know, but
mentioned the
it's not in the
stipend,
budget.
it's not in the budget, but you did mention.
I don't think you've ever,
stipend.
do we like, did we as a
I'll put
board,
it on my list.
Yeah,
This is
like
my-
say this is concrete, we're doing this.
I think we.
Yes, but we said order the phone, so we have
Which I
said,
have not done yet.
yeah, well, we talked about
You
it
have
January
not?
one,
That's right.
$25.
No, a call.
a call,
We got a
A
phone.
call.
yes.
I mean, we
Yeah,
could.
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
Could
you
be
got a phone.
purchased.
Yeah,
Can
$25.
you change the number on it?
I'll look into it, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Yeah, probably, because they allow
It's
you
just
to
an
take your
iPhone.
number
Yeah,
when
you
you change
just
carriers,
Just don't do
so
that before Tuesday.
I'm not
You do
doing
something, I mean,
anything.
Yeah.
You trade your, you trade your phone in and it might
Because I
be,
don't even know Chelsea.
You have the choice to
Right,
keep your
you can
number.
swipe it or wipe the
you
information.
can wipe it, you just wipe it, and then it's a
My point is,
reconditioned phone that you assign a phone number to.
So
No,
the
they would
thing
have to
is, we
decide.
have to figure out what would be an adequate estimate for how many times.
well, she gave,
Yeah, she gave us-
somewhere it said roughly how many calls, but, which I feel like she didn't ask for this, but I feel like someone deserves it, like, maybe I talked to Derek about this, like a caretaker who carries the keys.
Right.
You still, like, or maybe I talked to you, it was you.
Usually carrying the keys is somewhere between $100 and $200 a month.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
So I feel like she should-
No, that's what
I
it is.
should be getting $100 a month for carrying my keys.
Depends what key you got.
The master, thank you very much.
No, because yeah, the going is like $200 now,
And so
What's
I
that?
feel like.
about $200.
Like what we're asking her to do is similar to that, like she's making sure the phone is always with her. And so I just think that she deserves like a base and then plus a $25 per call.
So if I take a
I'll
call,
carry a phone for 25
Yeah,
bucks.
really,
I have a
I won't
second to
answer it,
take
but I'll
the
carry
call.
it.
Taking the call for her.
yesterday,
How are we auditing?
so I just, it's not a big deal, but just so you know,
You have to
we had
log
an
in.
individual pay an STR online. And then called and left me a voicemail when I left here and I went upstairs and checked my voicemail. The individual said, I just paid my STR permit and I don't know how to get it printed off. And I've been trying to call everybody and you're the first person I was able to get a hold of and they left me a voicemail, so I don't know who they tried calling. I called them back and I told them, I said, Britt is off, when she comes back, we'll have her take care of it for you, but. I don't know,
I'm assuming they called Britt, who didn't answer.
Right.
She's on
Oh, it's
vacation.
not-
so.
it's not vacation.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't,
on
and
vacation.
and I don't know what other numbers they call, but when I went into the program, it still has Mike's information on there.
Oh,
On their answering machine?
No, on the program, like where, so I have to,
oh, I see, oh, on the,
the program where
Site,
you go
yeah, site.
to, yeah, get the, where they,
Oh, the permit program.
yeah.
Can't we just increase the fees enough to cover what you're saying?
Well, we just increased the fees, I
Okay,
think
so-
when people.
Do you know how
should
much
raise
money
the fee.
we, well, we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
And also,
but-
you're
No,
only
no.
supposed to, I know we're being recorded, but you're only supposed to cover your admin costs. You know, like the amount of money we're bringing in
Yeah,
is
it's-
way more.
Ungodly.
Yeah, is like we don't need to increase the cost to cover $3,000 for Brit.
Is that what you think the stipend
Can
would
we
be
do-
about?
Can we do a
The taxpayer
per call
They're
or
not paying it, Jason, there's like $400,000 that
It's
comes in.
being paid by the STR.
SDRs.
Yeah.
I pay
Program.
$700 a year.
What is, 400,000 was a guess, I don't know, what is, it's about that?
can we give her a stipend or per call, whichever is more?
Well, we don't know.
$100 a month plus, 16 calls a month.
But
Holy
like,
crap.
she doesn't get that, like, did you read the
300.
data? There's like
300.
3 calls.
Now,
Now.
I know, that's what I said to Darcy too, I was like, once they know that Brit is
Because-
answering the phone, they're gonna be like.
Because they call that person in Japan or whatever they are, and
We're at 300.
300.
This year.
300?
we're we'll save whatever the monthly fee is for the current call system, correct?
Yeah, so the current call system, it's like, it's a $10,000 savings to
Right.
switch.
Oh, because of the other program?
It calls system, right,
The one that doesn't work.
Right. we pay.
Well,
It's
it's,
part
so
of that
so we're,
program.
so right now there's 300 calls per
That's why they're switching.
year.
Oh, no, she was
And it's
asking me
saving
for,
$10,000.
you were asking me for the revenue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how
SDR.
many calls, I'm not involved in
I mean,
that.
if, what'd she say, like 200 something? A year?
General fund, does it stay into?
I thought it was.
It's
Right now,
$80.
it's
short-term rentals all.
Was it
general
that small?
fund.
I thought it was,
No.
If it's 3 a
small.
month,
yeah,
it's pretty small.
so let's say it's 80, so that's
And I also do think that it should
There's
be.
$2,000 a year, she potentially,
It should be on I also do think that it should be like a condition, like it's like a trial basis for like 6 months.
yeah,
And then we see what the bill is, and we say, oh, yes, this is working, or no, this isn't working.
So I understand that you're talking specifically about a stipend per call for the individual,
right,
Yeah,
being Britt usually, that has the phone to make
she
those
would be
calls.
it, she would be it.
Well, when she's on vacation, it's not fair to ask her to do that, especially if she plans on, say, going out of country or something.
Well, then it would, then it would revert to the line,
Yeah,
where they get the
Recording.
recording, thank you.
or unless Darcy, I think we could pass that $25 off onto someone else if Darcy or David wanted to take
Okay.
it.
Well, I was just
Yeah,
gonna
and then
say,
they also were like, why won't you, do you guys wanna take the
there's
phone?
4 individuals in that office, you think there'd be a little cross training, that's all.
Well,
I wanted
it's
to
not,
ask
and that's
Gary
not,
this morning
it's
and
kind,
he
well,
has
it's kind of
no-
stepping up, it's not cross training, because we're not making it mandatory, and I don't know if we should make it mandatory. Britt's the one that stepped up and said, here's an option, and I'll do it.
Right.
Yeah, Britt basically said, I don't go, like, when she goes on vacation, she has a staycation, which she has
Which
every
is
right to do,
fine.
yeah.
You know,
But she
you
says
can't
that,
just-
she's like, I don't do anything, like, I'm willing to answer the
Yeah.
phone. And I don't think everyone's willing to take the phone and answer
right.
it.
Okay. I just don't want her to have something imposed on her that at some point in the future, she changes her mind and wants to go on vacation on a
And-
cruise.
I
Should
think
we
6
think about
months
this
trial
being,
is good.
well, I know this is an immediate fix. But it doesn't seem sustainable, it seems tied to an individual in one department as opposed to creating a more sustainable. System that will live beyond Brit. Or
Well,
just-
You're
well,
creating yeah, what do you mean beyond, like, there's 4 people in that department that will.
No, but it's volunteer, so we just go,
Well, we
Yeah,
don't
so
make it
Britt leaves, so the
volunteer.
next person who comes in, we say, here's your phone. Yeah,
so then you establish it, then is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's,
Yeah, the 4
that
people
becomes.
in it.
yeah, it's part of the job
It's part of the
environment,
job.
okay,
Yeah,
alright.
that goes with job description.
But that hasn't been talked about, so it's like, I know it's a fix now, but like,
Right,
does it live, I'll live.
Well, and in order to make it, Britt's willing to do it for the 25, period. However, if we have to make it mandatory, we probably should do something, a monthly stipend or something like that. Of
Crunch the
$100 or
numbers to
something
make
like
sure
that.
it make it worthwhile.
so start with 25 and.
Start with 25 because, basically, because we gotta crunch numbers like any other time, but we're in a situation. Let's not throw the 100 out yet.
Huh? I'd almost go, but if she's always gonna be on, there's something about having a phone and always have to carry with you and have to be.
Yeah, that's why I was saying she
That's
should get a
like-
flat stipend,
yeah, that's
like
what
a
like-
caretaker carrying the keys,
I would,
but if
I
you-
would go with that route of having, so at least.
But so you're
You're
saying,
kind of creating some goodwill, so it doesn't become a resentment.
so basically you're saying. Give them a stipend, but not the 25.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that.
and we
I
can
mean,
calibrate that now.
Yeah.
We know
That
it's
would give us a more
$400.
accurate.
How many
Count of
calls
calls.
did she say?
I don't,
And
it's
it's-
pretty, it's, and it's also very seasonal, right? So it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
July and August on like the cross weekend,
But
there's
once we
actually,
shut that other system off, we won't be able to get an accurate account.
yeah.
For calls, sure we will,
No, because, well, I,
it's a cell phone,
but,
No, no,
Calls
no, the
to
current
the bill.
system.
the current system, I don't think is doing a good job of
Right, so-
recording the data.
gotcha.
And also people
They
are
don't call.
frustrated.
So
So
once
could
they
change,
switch, if
yeah.
we have the cell phone, we'll know
That's
for
being
that
answered.
number, we'll know how many calls have been
Right.
answered or
Put
whatever.
that to us.
Then you can do a count.
Unless she starts calling marshals and marshals calling her.
Well, those are.
Well, I mean, she knows that the bills are monitored, I mean,
well, if you're gonna give, if, I'm just saying, let's say there's 100 calls a year.
I think that's high.
Okay, we're just saying, we
Yeah.
don't know.
so.
And doing the math, and doing, working, but working 2,500 and doing the math, it comes out to be, if we gave her $200 a month, it'd be about the same.
About the same.
It comes out $208 a month.
I say start with 100.
Yes.
Start with 100, but
With no call, no dollar amount per call.
Right, and I like running it for 6 months, because 6 months will take us to the end of June, of course, July and August is your point. But
You'll get like a President's Day weekend in there. It's not quite the best time frame to get it,
Right.
but it's, I
Right.
mean, you gotta have some time frame, so.
but if she's saying, let's say there's 80,
Or maybe during the summer months.
so there's
We can do that.
$2,000. So if,
That's 150.
yeah,
And this is gonna be something that she'll have during office hours as well, right? I
Yeah.
mean, people are gonna be calling that number whenever they feel like calling it,
And then-
not just in evenings and weekends, so she'll be getting
Well,
paid a regular rate,
no,
working
I
a
don't
regular
think,
job.
no, I don't think she should, that's
No.
double dipping.
yeah, that's it, that's it, you know.
So then
No.
she should just not answer the phone Monday through Friday.
I
8
don't
to
know how to
5.
figure. it
So
out.
how are we gonna, refresh on, how are we gonna set it up? The line,
So I just wanna reiterate, I have a feeling we didn't quite nail out all the details.
Well, no, I think-
I know we agreed in principle.
Yeah, we didn't nail the details, yeah.
So,
But
so
it-
we're gonna get bogged down, I know you wanna get this nailed down, but this is bogging us down, we got a lot of stuff. to
well, let me
talk
ask
about.
you just some more. So if there'll be a number to call Monday through Friday. Is it a different number for the cell phone? Or do we just,
Well, I think that's what Rick's saying, he doesn't like the idea of double dipping, so that, but I just think that's confusing, people are gonna be like, what do you mean? Like, I would prefer, it was like, I don't really care if she
So if we
answers
do-
the phone, why does
So
she?
let's move this to work session.
okay,
But I'm saying if we do the $100 thing, it's just part of her salary or her stipend, so she's getting paid for it.
Well, we'll have to
It's not
pacify her,
Yeah.
because she agreed to the 25 per call, right?
That was
Yes.
her
That
suggestion.
was her
So why screw with that?
All right,
That way we,
Alright,
For a
yeah,
six,
so,
I think to your point, sustainability, I think
Yes.
we go the stipend.
Yeah.
But right now, for the next 6-8 months, the
let's-
please keep
25.
it simple and
Okay.
25.
Alright.
I mean, and it should be only for the calls she takes outside of office hours.
Yes.
but then like, but we
That's
have,
fair.
but then we have
If
to
we
change
can
her job,
differentiate.
that she now has to take those, that's not her in her job description now, is it?
No, because
So
they.
they have to amend that, to include that.
Or it's just an extra duty that she.
It's I'd say an extra
Yes.
duty
Yeah,
because
so it's
if we're
$25
gonna
an
make
hour
it,
for
if we're gonna
calls
make it
outside of
mandatory,
normal.
then we
Is
include
that
the job.
taxable?
But she's doing an extra
It's
duty.
wages.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll have to, it'll be in her paycheck and she'll have
Right.
to pay taxes.
Yeah, but it's not in the job description for her position.
Yes.
It's an extra duty of her current position.
And it's volunteer, when that's a different thing.
All right, 35
So-
minutes.
I wanna know what your plan is for the roofing at the showgrounds, because that's not in the
Not
budget.
white,
no, it never was in the budget, that's coming from occupancy tax.
Future
All of it.
occupancy tax.
All of it's coming from.
projected.
Yeah.
Occupancy tax.
Because that's how I came up with 300. Remember, we had $678,000. And I made a little list, I always got lists. That's how I came up with 300 for leaf
Okay,
and the other stuff on our side, knowing what we have right now.
so that money we actually already have in occupancy
Yeah.
tax money, okay, I thought it was based on like the next allocation or
Yeah,
something.
no.
Yeah,
I
because they're gonna want money.
I've only,
What,
But he does have that spent.
but it could be
He's got
decided
ideas.
before you guys give out now.
right, yeah, that's the thing. It will be,
I'll have another check by that.
I know I've asked you that before, now
And
that,
it's
now that
dark
you say
green.
that, it,
yeah, dark green, not brown.
And it was in our meeting with Kristen and MJ.
I just needed somebody to hit me on the head.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's my answer to everything, it's ARPA or.
sewer, the sewer,
We need-
Still telling us no.
We need another pandemic to get more money.
Wait, before
sorry,
we jump to
okay.
sewer, and we're still at showgrounds, Swaza Engineering, it
Yeah.
is occupancy tax.
Yes, that was on my list, but at that time it was 56,000, but now it's 69,000. That 13,000, remember that you wanted to cross out,
Yeah,
but it's all the soil tests.
yeah, I don't think Kathy was here when we were talking about that one, so I wanted to make sure she knew that.
I knew
all I
about it
know
when
is
we
we've
were in
given them
the.
$167,000 since we started working with them. That's all I know.
Yep,
Under multiple contracts,
Yeah.
yep,
So the sewer, right now,
yep,
I have, the general fund has lent $149,000 to the sewer fund for the Swazo and the pipeline. And I need to know that your intent is next year, at some point,
to bond,
you're bonding that
but I think
to
you're,
pay back the
And
general
this is
fund.
about Rusamont.
yeah, I think you're wrong there, because everything that's been done at Rosamont was under the $250,000
No.
grant.
So We
I'm
had,
gonna argue with you on this one.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's what we billed, that's what they billed us. So this is everything that they billed us, 175,000.
In our last meeting, they told us that within the $100,000, here's, let me see those numbers again. Part of this money is the water
The water and
testing,
sewer analysis, yeah.
water and sewer analysis, which was 69,000
It's-
or
yeah, so.
it was as high as $76,000. At that time, we were trying to get between 10 and 30 out of Dakota, remember Dakota?
Yes,
And we haven't heard from them since.
So anyway, bottom line is, this is everything that we've spent with Swazo
Yeah.
and Kenyon Pipeline
Yep,
for the sewer, whether it was the water and sewer study, whether it was Rosemont A, Rosemont B, or
Okay.
pipeline lining. And all of that needs to be paid back to the general fund.
well, I'm telling you, there's $100,000 in there
Well,
to
we
take
haven't-
off
We
those.
haven't received it yet, so
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the other issue.
okay,
Their applications, we haven't gotten the money. I don't even know if the applications have been approved
yes,
yet.
they've been awarded.
They've been awarded, okay.
yeah,
So-
they've been awarded and the application process is open. I learned that on
Those
our call the
250.
other day.
So when do we get? When we were on that call, they made it sound like those grants are for work to be done, not work that's already been done,
Right.
so.
So we'll find out if he's sent I don't know if we have to send in for the 100 or they do it on our behalf.
But okay, so
Are we talking about the same
see,
thing?
I think that those $250,000 grants, they said that there's a 25, 25, and a 50, right?
Yeah.
That's how the percentages work.
Right,
If those percentages apply to these expenditures, how come we haven't already gotten some money? That's what I wanna know,
okay,
because I thought that those were for other items to be done.
Well, there will be plenty of money to spend on Rosemont sewer,
There's no money to spend
Well,
on it right now.
plenty of expenses for
Yeah.
Rosemont sewer. So I don't know, I think that there's just a delay in that money,
So I just want,
Where's it
so
coming from?
I don't,
as
EFC,
long, yes, the two grants are EFC grants.
And you said they're approved, have we
Oh, yeah.
received any documentation?
yeah,
oh yeah,
As much?
But
Swaza did like the applications for us and everything,
Okay.
so they have been approved by EFC,
yes.
okay.
So besides that, besides those two grants, that still leaves us, $60-ish thousand, $67,000.
which is the amount of that other study.
And so what's gonna happen is all of that is, the intent is all of that's gonna be rolled into whatever bonding needs to be done with the actual
Whatever.
construction work
We don't
that's
have a
done on
choice
those
there,
lines.
yeah,
Just so you know, that money is sitting out of the general fund's balance right now. That
Yeah.
is money that belongs in the general fund balance, it's not
similar
there.
to Raybrook Water,
Okay.
I get it,
Just, and that was gonna be my next one.
yeah.
Ray,
I like-
I always I'm
We should've
getting the
started at
sense
1
that like,
o'clock.
like there's a collection agency, agent on the phone with somebody looking for their money.
That's her,
it's me. Raybrook Water, we still haven't gotten that additional.
38,000.
We haven't gotten that
And
yet.
I told the state I told our attorneys just the other day, when you're talking to Glassinos, their lawyer, tell them that the clock is ticking. I still know how to spell no. If I don't get the 38,000, I'm not signing a contract. So, now this Glassinos is good and Glenn is even better. So I may have an answer as soon as Friday.
Okay, so if we get that, we still owe the general fund another $23,000.
Yep,
I'm assuming,
I'd rather owe it to you than cheat you out of it.
so I'm assuming
Oh, we all-
what's gonna
Nice guy,
happen
nice guy.
is when the OCCS hooks on and we start billing them,
Yeah,
we can use some of that revenue to pay this money back to
of
them.
course. In fact, I want you to know
Don't have to bond for
that
that.
I was still sharp enough to have a clause put in this contract that says I want a promise, or I want language that says, as soon as we have water to your front door, you're gonna accept it, or you're gonna pay the daily amount rate.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cause I'm not gonna go through this whole process only to find out that they're 3 years from doing the millions of dollars they gotta do on their side to accept the water.
So,
So
I'm
so
sorry,
we
go
won't
ahead.
pay the, like, sort of like, and this was a big thing that like everyone started to hate when Mayor Randall did it. So like if you weren't paying water and sewer, but you started charging people that had the access but chose not to, like
There's
that's
still
what
a charge.
you're gonna charge them.
Yeah.
Because that even, whether you hook on or not, you still have the ability.
Yeah,
But are they in the water district?
and we don't have water district.
If they're not in our water district, we can't charge them.
Can we create a water district? How do we do
You have
that?
to
Well,
accept
that's why I'm
it,
having
amend
it put
it.
in our contract.
That's what I'm saying though, but if they don't sign the contract,
Yeah.
then you're SOL.
Guess what? If they don't have water, they don't have a prison. Yeah.
And how many people are gonna lose their?
I want you to know a second thing I also instituted because the state has a sweet deal with the federal prison.
Yeah.
The state supplies water and the federal prison pays for all the sewer. So now let's take Governor Hochul closing down yet another prison and it's Adirondack. And the water has to flow through Adirondack before it gets to FCI. I have a separate clause in there that says, should anything happen to Camp Adirondack, we have a right to raise the per thousand rate if we're only supplying the prison. Yeah,
Oh, if we're only supplying MCI.
FCI, yeah.
So,
But the housing development that they'll put in there will need water.
Or big resort.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a nice
Right.
resort.
so,
Big
so,
down-
water-
Yeah, same company
Worst
doing big
case-
cover.
So we can go right onto the bike trail.
John Swain, he's gonna do it.
I'm gonna just throw, okay, so worst case scenario, right now, we have like 680 something thousand, I think, of the bond that we used for building the water tank.
yeah,
Outstanding. There's an application, if I understand the documentation right, there's an application to extend that short-term financing for another 6 months to a year, I'm not
boy,
sure the exact.
and we need that back.
Because, so that we can continue using the financing to finish. There's an extension request out there. We should be receiving documentation from Joan Blykamp, our bond counsel,
Yeah,
that you'll have to sign and we'll have to send back to the EFC to do that. The total is 885,000, that's the debt that we're on the hook for,
yeah,
regardless of whether the
Yeah,
DOCCS
right.
is on or not.
Right.
We have to pay that back.
yeah,
So worst case scenario is that the Raybrook residents are gonna get hit for that bond.
I hope it's a very short
Sometime-
term,
Some,
because
it's not
our,
a short term, it's a 30-year bond, it's water.
let me finish.
Is this
When
good long enough?
I'm entertained.
I know.
this contract,
We got the gallery here, that's just.
there is $1.1 million allocated.
Alright, I understand that, you heard what I said, worst case, right?
Okay.
Worst case is we don't get anything from the state,
Yeah.
worst case.
Now, if the state falls through, I realize, boy,
So,
I'm gonna be in the Florida House.
alright,
but-
so having said all of that,
No, I believe you're leaving.
and the heat's leaving. Okay, so,
Dude, I have to be careful walking out, getting a beer and ice cream. and wait for it. That's how-
the fifth tab, behind the fifth tab is the debt schedule.
Fifth tab, not
Fifth
fifth
tab.
tab.
I offered labels,
3, 4, 5.
Debt service schedule.
it's one of those really nice long sheets, yeah. So. Our debt service actually is not too bad right now, but,
That's better than it's bad.
Don't say that too loud.
Yeah, really.
well, so keep in mind that this does not have on it whatever ends up being issued for the sewer loan funding. I'm assuming if we're lucky enough to have construction work space start next year, we'll ban for the costs until it's all done, and then we'll convert everything to a bond, right, so. But for next year's budget, what I have in there is everything that we have that's currently existing, okay? The Raybrook water at the very top, that one's almost done, we only have, 6 more years left on that one? That's a small one. That's only 4,300, that was 0% financing way back when it was issued.
Yeah.
But
That was the upgrade for the fire hydrants, I believe.
And
Don't
then,
make any difference.
yeah, and then Liberty Hill Sewer is the last of the old sewer debt that was done.
We're done in January with that?
Oh, no, not until 2030. That one's got a few more years as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Craigwood Clubhouse, we took out a $750,000 bond for that one.
Well,
Yeah,
you said that Raybrook Water's almost done, but it says 2032.
Yeah, but it's a small one,
Okay.
and it was a 30-year, so I mean, it comparatively speaking, it's almost done.
So you're saying 4378 is the annual?
That's the principal that we pay every year on that.
And then we have,
So it'll be done in 32, so we have 7 years left?
yeah,
okay.
That's not pretty soon.
No, I guess you're right. Sorry,
Company around.
I know, right?
Apparently I'm older.
I guess where I'm going with this is that overall, the bonds have been going down instead of up. We've been trying not to borrow as much.
hence
But-
the 600,000 on this building.
Or I was gonna say hence our dropping fund balance.
So,
Really?
so, right,
So I don't.
Not
sorry,
enough.
I don't-
So anyway, the debt service for next year, this includes, okay, on this. 650, the bottom one, the bottom debt that's listed as a Raybrook Water DWSRF.
Yes,
That 659,305, that's how much is currently drawn off the short-term financing from
Okay.
DFC. And right now, it's at like the 1.3%, but the renewals coming in at 2.5. So we will have to, I will have to bump that up a bit, but. This does not include sewer.
Okay,
The rest of that schedule is to
so
go
we paid
on.
out 1.7 this year.
no,
No.
that's the outstanding principal, right?
1.7 is where we started the year,
Yeah,
these are what we've paid,
okay,
and then that's the end of the year.
okay,
The 1.4 is what we're ending the year with.
Where's the 1.4?
It's on the crease.
little bit further,
Principal due.
final
as of
maturity
12/25.
dates.
Oh, okay, yep, got it right there, okay.
Oh, that's next year.
Toboggan chute is almost paid off though. Am I looking at that right?
The toboggan shoot 60,000.
I'm
Yeah.
amazed Craigwood,
Oh, right.
Craigwood is winding down.
You're right.
Yeah. and
We're
Craigwood
looking,
is-
this is next year, this is where we're gonna be at the end of this year,
Right,
that's
that's
where we'll
what-
be at the end of next year.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yeah. I knew that.
alright. So that was the debt, I wanted you all to see that because it's spread
It's
out,
more boring work.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It,
really,
um,
our debt service is pretty good.
You want
it's very low.
And listen, that
comparatively
Craigwood
speaking.
could have been a $2.2 million instead of $750,000. Yeah,
Alright,
the rest of the
so
board was a little picked at me that. I
When
wouldn't
I-
vote for building new.
when I put these binders together, I did not have an estimated fund balance spreadsheet, because.
Where do I put
Yeah,
my
thank you,
binder?
thank you, I don't know,
So
where do we put it?
What's
I
that?
would put it at the very end of the section after the first tab.
Still
That would be tab 2, right?
Tab 1, at the end of the section after the first tab, I'm pretty sure that's.
So
So
just
right at the
before.
front of tab two.
So-
It's kind of like being in kindergarten.
Yeah,
Can we follow directions?
so we put it just before tab 2, correct?
Before tab 1 or after tab 1? Because this isn't a tab.
Can I
that's
have
the
a green?
Before tab 2.
cover.
Before tab
Before
1.
tab 2?
Put it before tab, put it right before tab 1.
Oh, okay,
So I always think
Okay.
like after.
Okay.
Like,
Dick had, he
Right
didn't know what I was
before
trying to
tab one.
say.
right,
there we go.
It's right before.
yeah, so
Right before
here's tab 1, then like that.
I know,
Oh,
he understood what I was saying, even though I said.
There you go.
see? You laugh, you don't wait. See, that's why you wait, then you laugh.
What, so.
Probably the last.
I
thing we'll have.
apologize.
And I didn't even get no sleep last night, so
Make you guys
that's.
laugh.
What an amazing game.
Oh, it was, oh my God,
You couldn't have asked for it.
that's why I took the.
All right, let's come
No,
on.
no, I'm just saying.
I gotta leave at 5:15.
No, wait, when he was, the last batter was up, I stepped back and that's when I said, okay, I'm waiting for the last pitch. And that's when I started taking the video when those two went nuts and everybody went.
Well, Diaz was blocking people, I'm like, oh.
No.
Sorry.
Yep, sorry, I'm sorry. We have
Projected
priorities.
fund balance. So the top of the page, the third column over. The fund balance,
Got it.
column over, top of the page, the total says 3,393. The
159, yep,
column, that's where we started.
right.
This column.
Fund balance available for appropriation as of 12/31/2023.
It's what we spent on it.
Oh,
That 3,393,000, this does not include our capital projects, okay, does not include community tourism enhancement because it's not our money.
Right,
I finally figured that out.
well,
Available, okay, so this is what we have.
So we started the year with that available,
okay.
okay?
Okay.
The column right before it, that 1.189, that's what we appropriated to balance the 2024 budget. Of that 1.189, we have spent 780.
okay,
But you said we'll be close to spending it.
and we
Yeah.
had a quarter to go.
Right.
So stop spending money.
That's a different language to Eric.
You won't do it, you've got to explain things and yell.
Alright, the other two columns, so going forward now, reading from left to right, the revenues, expenditures year to date so far. What I think we're gonna have coming in the rest of the next 3 months, this almost 3 whole months that we have. The majority of that would be sales tax and mortgage tax.
The remaining revenues expected.
Yes.
Yes, sure.
And then I have one more quarter of billing for Raybrook. I doubt very much I'll get that 12, but I'm hopeful. The budgeted expenditures. There's not a lot we can do with that because what that represents really is 25% of the annual wages, just about.
Yep.
And then 2 more months of health insurance and well, in the park district, 100,000 of that's gonna be for that mower. But
We'll see.
Oh. Yeah, no, it's
Oh.
committed, you
Yeah,
guys, we
you saw last
called.
night, you were all like.
Yeah, you guys told us yesterday,
Go ahead.
call them, and I
What
did.
were you talking about holding over his head?
My head,
No.
The trade-in, the 15,000,
yeah.
the UTV,
little leverage,
right?
yeah.
Not a lot.
Should have held off on that $100,000.
Yeah,
And it's funny because Willis is like, are you sure they don't wanna finance? I'm like, they told me it's okay, cause it's in the budget. We're saving the financing.
Maybe I should have.
And he's like, but we can, he
Yeah,
said, I
really.
like lease, he said, I like the leases because we can trade them in, I'm like, Willis, if we own it, we can still trade it in,
Yeah,
so. I don't know, whatever. So if all of that plays out. We will have about $2 million of fund balance. So
And how much does this proposed budget take from that 2 million of fund balance?
none, because you're gonna override the tax cap and raise all of it.
No, try again.
Yeah, let's back up.
Yeah.
So-
I'm gonna try another round.
So of that 2 million, 160 of it is owed to the general fund from the sewer, which we're not gonna have until
after,
next year or later,
Okay.
so. We can't play with that.
So you're saying we only have about.
I mean, you can,
we could play with 250,000, that's about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah, I would say,
Yeah,
I definitely
No.
wouldn't take more than 500. I definitely
go.
wouldn't take more than 500, cause that would really be straining the budget.
I wouldn't wanna sacrifice any more than 25% of what we have.
So, but in terms of following our.
Fund balance policy.
Fund balance policy, thank you, so she can remind me. We're doing good. Cause we're right now, we're in that 15 to
Yeah.
25%, but if we appropriate. More than the 250, then we're gonna start.
Yep.
whittling
Emily, in
down.
3 years, you have come so far in understanding budget. Do you
I think I've
remember?
been here for 5 years, haven't I?
The park district actually.
Yeah, 5 years.
Has it been 5?
It's
Oh,
been
okay.
5 years.
So the park district is where I would recommend taking that from.
Taking what?
show me
The
that.
five hundred. Cause the park district is the third one up from the bottom line, so that's where I'm estimating that they're gonna have $1 million in fund balance, so if we're gonna appropriate 250, that's where it should come
Okay.
from.
Yeah.
You can do that though?
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, can't. Where's that
Instead
big
of
mower's gonna
general.
come from?
Where does, I'm sorry, say it
That big
again.
mower is gonna come from this line?
The mower is already
Already-
calculated
Yeah,
in,
because you've got
Cause it
the,
was in the 24.
Yeah.
because you've got that.
so. I just wanted to, I wanted you guys to see these numbers because this is what you have to have in your mind when we start talking about adding and subtracting things to the rest of the budget.
Right,
Wages and all that, alright? So now I get to take you to retirement. And you guys are gonna be this at me.
Yeah, I know, because you already admitted it,
we
so
already had this talk.
Oh,
you already
yeah.
told us that you screwed up.
so last year, I'm just gonna tell you what I did and what I didn't do.
Which tab first?
You don't wanna even look at the paper,
Okay,
because it's just gonna be confusing.
okay,
Alright, so how much do you guys understand about how the retirement stuff is calculated? Any of it?
Do we need to?
I was going to say,
Like,
what do we need to-
Do I have-
The retirement system.
Give us the numbers.
New York, okay, New York State, it works on a 3/31 year end. Okay, so our bill generally is due in February. We're in 2024. February 2025 is the deadline for us paying our bill
For 24.
for all the wages that were earned by our employees that we reported from April 1 of 23,
For their fiscal.
from April 1 of 23 to March 31 of 24.
Their
We
fiscal.
paid that in 2025.
Right.
Generally speaking, we have the option, and we've always taken it, of paying in December, we save $1,000 or something, you know, we save a little bit of money, pay it a little early. We've always done it, why wouldn't you if you have it? So when I was calculating the the retirement system always provides an estimate to the people who create the budget. So if I had taken their paperwork
Right,
and used that number, would have been closer than what I did
so
for
there's,
2024's budget,
they-
because I
okay.
screwed up.
right,
What I've always done is I've always cause I have all the payroll, I have exactly what we paid. And I know what the rates are, and I can calculate them out, and I'm like, this is what we need to put in the budget, and I've always been really close. Except for this past year, because I used the wrong year rates.
yeah,
Yeah.
you used 22.
So I should have used the 24 rates, I used the 23
Agree.
rates. So what that means is that our budget for 2024
Hmm.
pay in December/February
Hmm.
was short,
100,000.
it was that bad, was it? I was short. See, I have the number,
That's all right.
not far. 75,000.
hmm,
That's a huge difference.
Yep.
So,
That shows you the appreciation in 1 year.
yeah, the rates jumped,
Yep.
comparatively speaking.
That's
So in
rates
the
jumped
binder-
Because we had tremendous,
We had
we gave
extra.
$2 per hour to a number of people.
Plus-
That goes back to what we were talking about.
Plus
We just.
the interest
spaced
rates,
it out.
the difference in the interest rates, because there's now a whole year gap from what I calculated and. Alright, so in here now, what's in here, and I gave you guys everything so you can see what I did, to double check and make sure I have the right rates, alright? This first sheet that's in the retirement tab, it's the middle tab.
Like now we're not going by numbers, now by middles.
Well, I mean, the third tab, tab 3, the middle one.
The one that doesn't make any sense.
So, and here's the thing, in my mind, these spreadsheets make sense, I have a hell of a time trying to explain them. Alright,
What's the percentage we have to pay?
it depends on
Your
what tier you're in. But tier 6 is the most
Yeah.
current tier, all our new hires are in there. Right now, that's at
11.3%. But for next year, it's gonna be at 12.8%. And tier 4, which is where all of like me and most of the park district, like Clark and the Clarks
Yeah.
and Ward and,
me.
yeah.
Yes, you're there.
So those, yeah, so those are at 17.8% and next year they're gonna be at 19.5. So the rates have gone up quite a bit. So on this sheet, this is everybody who is in the retirement system that got reported for the year. And I'm sorry, what?
One percent is too low, what's your argument?
We're both.
Oh, low for
So and the annual totals column, the 3/31/2024, that's how much we paid for what we're gonna get billed. That we had to pay in December of this year. So that calculation is 343,139, and if you were to look at the next page. The prepayment amount due in December is 345,29. So if I had done this first sheet that you guys just flipped, if I had done that properly last year, it would be golden, but I didn't, and I apologize. If you wanna fire me, now's the time to do it.
Oh, we all gotta go.
Not till after budget.
We need you for a very short period of time.
You have to have somebody to point fingers at,
That goes into it too.
right?
We need somebody to come up with all these numbers, because
Right.
we can't do it.
So what I'm gonna say though is the reason why I don't always just take what they give me as a grain of salt is because I know who's not. With us anymore and they don't,
Oh,
you know what I
Alright.
mean?
Okay,
So,
they're doing an estimate,
right,
an average.
and their estimate is based on wages, so,
Are we
So-
selling the desk that you have? I'm not
yeah,
sure.
we can do that. Especially if I leave, you won't need it anymore. Alright.
Regardless, it's gone. Whether you're gone or not, that's gone.
When the desk goes, I'm gone.
I got a card table, I'll bring it so you can use.
So the next page after that, Nisler's estimate is the sheet of rates. And I have to say, I don't know what I did last year because I went back and when I saw the difference in what we had in the budget and what they sent me, I'm like, there's gotta be a mistake, this can't be right. I looked at my work papers for last year and I couldn't find anything for retirement, I don't know what I did. I don't. So these are, this is how they used to send us the rates, they were all nice colorful pages like this. And I kind of highlighted and drew the line so you could see where the rates are. We don't have anybody in tier 1 anymore, cause that was Butch. We don't have anybody in tier 2 anymore, that was Barry. So really all we need is tiers 3. Well. 3 is, I think, Tim Smith. Basically tiers 4 and tier 6. And we have this sick leave thing at the bottom where it says add a percentage point.
Yeah.
Or a tenth of a percentage point. That's that whole thing where I'm telling you guys, you can't change the sick leave policy because that's where they can take 6 months of accrued. And add it to their retirement at the end of their terms with us. So the next on page. Is the estimate for this budget that we're talking about now, alright? So I took, when I did this, which was. Printed it on October 1st. I took the earnings for the first 12 pay periods of the year.
Yeah.
I added the remainder of this 7 pay periods for the year. And then I estimate that, so the column that says 1/1/25 to 3/31/25 7 PP.
Is a wrap up.
That's
period.
an estimate based on what's currently in the budget at the 3% increase for wages. And the other thing that you need to keep in mind is that this is only based on straight time. There's no overtime in this calculation, and that's where the biggest discrepancies will come in. If everything else is done properly, if, between my estimate and what they send us, will be overtime.
And that's where the The approximation of 75,000 comes from too,
Part of it, not
Yeah.
all of it, part of it.
but it's close.
So in here, what I am projecting based on the current rates for 2026, which are in on that sheet behind. It's in here, it's a different format, but it's here. They're saying based on our, okay. I'm getting ahead of myself, so. If we look at this page right here,
Which is.
right behind that long
Next
one,
one.
yeah, okay. So this is what the retirement system sends us annually for budget purposes, and they are doing this estimate based off of wages from 3/31/2024.
Right,
But they're saying based on those wages, we're gonna say, so you have a 75% retention factor for tiers 1 through 3. And then you're gonna have more hires for the tier 6.
right,
Yada, yada, yada like that, they extrapolate it out and they come up with their calculation, which they're saying will be $383,861.
however, so if.
I'm saying it's gonna be more like 379
Yeah.
without overtime, so you can see there,
And yours is
that's
more
what,
actual.
that's what. This year should have looked like and I screwed up.
Right, but so if we prepay it. Okay. If we prepay 381,
Right,
okay. And the actual comes out to be 379. Do we get money back?
no, okay, so that's where you have to be,
That's a good question.
it's a good question,
My
but.
assumption is we get a credit. of
You're
some sort.
you're getting ahead, it's, that's
Okay,
not,
okay, I'm
okay, so,
sorry.
because this, and that's why I put them both in here. This one right here, the one that says prepaid December 15, 2024.
Right,
That's what we're paying this year. This is what was in the 2024 budget that I messed up.
Right.
This amount.
I got you there.
Alright, they're using the same salaries that created that
That's what I mean.
bill. They're using those salaries to give us an estimate.
Right, I mean, that's
This
what
is
it
an
is.
estimate.
Yep.
This is gonna change. This, when I get the bill,
Yes,
this
but
time next year, that 381 is gonna look more like. Probably 390 because of overtime.
that's what I mean.
We don't pay this. This is just an estimate to throw in the budget.
Okay, so okay, so even, yeah, they're still an estimate, that's not the bill.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I got it.
I will get another bill that will look very like this.
But you're paying it,
It'll be more like that.
but you're paying it 2 months.
December 15th.
Right, you're paying it 2.5 months before the actual number is determined.
No, I'm paying it. I'm paying.
Based
Alright.
on an estimate.
I'm
That's the
not.
point.
So here, no, okay, this is why I did not go into teaching.
I was just thinking of like.
Such a hard time to explain it, okay, so. The salaries that were. Reported to the retirement system up and through the end of March of 2024. For 12 months back. That year period of salaries. They have a definite number. Their definite number matches my definite number because they got the numbers from me. That number times all the rates. Is what is what creates this number. So we're paying in December/February, depending on if you wanna save $1,000. We're paying December. The expense. From March 31.
Okay. So we're paying a
And
year, we're paying a
it
year back.
like 6
In
months
arrears.
back,
Yeah.
we're paying, it's like,
Yeah,
we get.
it's not the current number, it's a year back.
It takes them 6 months to do the calculations and create the bills. And so now they're using those 3/31/2024. Reported salaries, they use those. They have actuaries that say, well, you're gonna have a 75% retention rate for tiers 1 and 2, 80 for tier 3.
Yeah.
Whatever for 4,
But if-
6, multiply those
I'm
out.
I'm just for clarification, so if you're paying. In 2/1/25,
Mhm.
you're paying
The
expenses is from 2/1/24.
No, we're paying the expense that encompasses all of the
What's the period of
charges
time?
from April 1 of 23
Okay,
to
that's-
March 31 of 24.
That's okay.
Gets paid
Got it
in
now.
February 25.
Okay, I got it now. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
I mean, you're not, we're paying on time, but you're not paying on time.
Because it's a delay from the state, right?
So
Right.
the difference from your projected number from your error.
Right,
to-
so-
where is that coming from?
Okay,
Is that
so
the fund?
here, so. Thank you for asking that question, because that's what this is all about. That $75,000 difference.
Next year will be 9 or
Could.
10.
Okay, so there's two things we could do. We could appropriate it out of fund balance this year. And put it in this year as an expense. Or we can add it to the estimate because 2025's budget
Is
is
based on.
based on April 1 of 2024 through March 31 of 2025.
But we still need the funds,
So we can take that $75,000,
yes.
throw it in that year calculation. And put all of it into the 2025 budget. Either way, it's, you know.
But if
Six
we're,
one half dozen the other.
Right.
but we're,
Well,
but we don't
It is
have,
and it isn't,
Right.
because when we're sitting here at public hearing. And somebody says,
Why is your retirement expense so high?
no, they'll never say that, but they'll say,
We're barely.
what did you use fund balance for this year?
Right,
And then you gotta get into that,
right,
that's the
Yeah.
only downside.
so,
Okay, I think that's,
Either-
out of all the things that we're doing, that's probably the most easily defensible one.
Oh, I'm not worried about defending it, it's just a matter whether she can explain it to their
oh
satisfaction.
my god,
I think she explains it the same way she did it to us, everyone's gonna be fine.
give up.
Yeah.
They'll give up, they'll be like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
the point is, we got a lot for this
So you see.
public hearing, a budget meeting, half an hour. You know, it's gonna take at least an hour.
Oh,
Hey, happy early birthday.
I've been leaving the door unlocked because this is technically a meeting.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
can you lock it up?
Love to,
Why not?
How?
go push the on the switch, the toggle.
The toggle switch that says yes or no, that's the one that's not on or off. Just say yes,
Yes or no.
let them in, no, don't let them in.
Thank you.
Good deal.
I would have been like, which
To
one?
interpret, no,
Yes to lock it or no to lock
I
it?
feel that.
it's a no, so you know.
Yes, just do the toggle no.
Alright, no,
You can leave, but they can't come in.
alright,
But I don't wanna do it now because you guys technically, anybody can come in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
good deal, happy birthday.
thank you.
don't celebrate too much, just enough.
29 years old, how are you feeling?
I'll
Twenty-nine.
say, yeah, that's 20 years old, you are so right.
Oh,
I actually thought I was a year older than I am.
Oh, that's bad.
You're doing it all year.
I said, I was like, oh,
Like
yeah.
you're
and
you're
then I
only
didn't
sitting
think
here.
about it.
So Jason, let's go back to talk about the game then.
You know, well, I notice how I feel like, how old I actually am, I still look. I'm
So-
like-
Here, okay, you wanna save $75,000 off the tax cap? This is where you do it, you take it out of this year's fund balance and you don't have to worry about putting it in the budget next year.
Yeah,
Or you leave it alone as I have it in there and let me,
But how
Take it
does
right.
that obviously is not in your projections of fund balance? Like where does the 75,000 shortfall lay in the fund balance document?
it doesn't because it's in the budget right now, it's in 2025 budget right now.
To pay
It's
the
part-
25.
Right,
Right.
it's part of that 880,000 overage that we need. to
I say we do
little-
so it helps more to put it,
Do it now,
yeah.
do it now.
Pay now.
Right,
You gotta pay anyway, you
Yeah, I was
know,
gonna say.
you know, the old Fram commercial, you know?
so.
Say it without-
So I will fix that then, well. Won't be a fix, but it'll be an adjustment.
Will that, so that will show in our budget adjustments
For
in November.
yeah. So do you guys, honestly, do you understand what I did wrong and how?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
On a
I
very
think-
high level, I understand
I'm
what you did.
sorry. I'm telling you, you
Bad math.
You probably don't know this, but my first degree from college was gonna be in secondary education mathematics, can you imagine?
Yes, I
Can
can.
I get it, I get it.
I actually
you
get
imagine me trying to teach this shit?
No, but I think that
Well, you
like
can help
you
it be a
understanding the
small school.
process is one thing, the art of teaching, that's a whole other
And
component
I
of that.
totally did not have it, I mean, all the way to block 2. So I was one semester away from getting my degree, and I just like, no, I'm not doing it. So I just got the math, I just took the math and ran, and then I went back and did accounting.
Are we doing an executive session?
Yeah.
Just
Another
quick,
one?
because I wanna go around the horn on
Okay,
shipment.
cause I've gotta leave it in
Okay.
10 minutes.
So
Oh.
you're kicking me out, is what you're saying? Okay,
Yep.
I
so.
think I got through what I wanted to.
After that presentation, yes.
You're done. I mean, dang,
Go up to your big desk.
Yeah.
say goodbye to it. Hope you,
No, thank you
time
for
your
that
initials into it.
explanation.
Yeah,
It was very educational.
That was good.
yes,
Thank you.
it's good to
And I
know how it
understood.
works.
Seriously,
I did.
really?
That's why I asked a couple
Okay.
questions.
And now if we had that 20% that they want. That matching 5%.
Well, what are you talking about?
I know.
In the contract,
Contract.
Only.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Union stuff.
they want us to match 5%.
Alright, good.
No, that's not retirement, that's deferred compensation, and I don't even know if we're allowed to do that, but why should we, if we're already contributing to.
Yeah, like I say, this is
You're
a,
only getting 20%.
it's a municipality, it's not a.
Alright, we gotta hustle, please gotta get out of here.
So, are we done with
We're
this?
good.
You have a shift, you wanna say some lives?
You got a beer waiting for him.
No, I don't.